What is going on, guys? Dragon Timberblade here, back with some more Elder Scrolls Legends, continuing this end of season push. I'm going to probably record maybe this episode and possibly one more, but this probably be the last episode that's on camera for this season before I just go into off-screen play mode. So we're going to see Action Assassin one more time before the season's over. I've made one final last-second adjustment to the deck to try and finish the rest of the season. I've seen some suggestions to pull out the Smuggler's Halls and the markets, but I do think that they're useful and they're pretty much the only health gain that this deck has, so I wanted to keep those in there. But the one change that I did make, or I guess multiple changes that I did make, is I dropped the two Abyssian Navigators and the two Stealer of Secrets. Stealer of Secrets is a super cool card. The only issue is I feel like it just sits in my hand, and by the time I get a chance to play it, it winds up usually getting silenced or something like that. It just winds up being a gigantic tempo loss. So I'm trying not to play that card, and I replaced them with 3 Shadow Shifts because they're cheap actions that play nice with the Hex Mage, and they also cycle. And then I included Ungolem because the assassins that he generates are cheap creatures to put on the board, which lethal also helps us out with taking care of some of the bigger creatures that we usually struggle to clear, and then also additional cycle. So those are the changes that I made to end the season. We'll see if they wind up paying off.
Shed some light on the
Playing off against a Spell Sword, usually a somewhat difficult matchup for us, but we drew a decent starting hand, so we're going to see what we can do here. This trades favorably, and we can get the Arcanist on the board next turn. Could also ring into the Shaman, but I think that's a bit risky. Headler Firebolt would be a consideration if I drew, and only if I drew into another cheap action or a curse. But being that this happened, I think we'll take the even trade, or the favorable trade, and I think we'll actually just get out the Cunning Ally.
Let's do this.
We won't trigger it the second time, so we have a pretty decent idea of what's coming. Next turn, we're looking at possibly Shaman, just because Shaman is great value generation for us, provided, again, in these colors, we have Javelin to worry about, Edict of Azure to worry about, as well as any number of silences, as Ungloom's actually going to show his face in his very first game since being added to the deck. Since we did draw into Ungloom, I'm going to play him over there. And just to start playing around, I know he can't quite get to Immolating Blast just yet. I'm going to start spreading out my threats just a little bit, especially if he plays something like Hive Defender. Now I can double trade and still have something in the other lane to be able to attack next turn. So that's kind of where my mind's at with playing him over here. Still have a pretty decent hand. I tend not to set up my markets unless I have no other play at the end of a turn, or if I have 0 cost ready to go, so markets can kind of hang out for a little bit. Starved Hunger. That can get easily cursed or firebolted, but at the same time, it's not the one that has drain, so I don't think we have to worry about it.
Can't you see I'm busy?
I have you now.
We're going to trigger a Prophecy here, but I wanted to get all that damage in first, and then we'll start making some plays. If this is his Javelin, I'm not too worried about any of these guys kind of eating it. If he wants a Javelin, the Arcanist, alright, that's fine. So since he did that, I think we will just set up our Shaman, and honestly, I think we will Firebolt that. It's not a huge threat, but if we can make him use something else to kill the Arcanist, I think it's better, especially since we're so far ahead at this point, and we want to kind of start transitioning into the mode of trying to finish him off. So clearing his board and keeping our creatures there is obviously something that we're looking to do.
Awaiting orders.
Kvatch Soldier is a play here. We can take our 6 damage on the right side. Edict of Azure. Alright, so getting one of those burnt is almost just as good as generating a curse. Take our face damage first. Now, I can Firebolt, trade with Ungolem, get some more damage in, And then
The ambition of the Telvanni
continue to spread out our
was
threats,
known.
especially now that he's in Immolating Blast range, and next turn he'll be in Dawn's Wrath range. So we want to spread these guys out, and we are we have lethal on board. I'm assuming he's going to be able to clear at least 1 or 2 of these. So we are Lightning Bolt away or 0 cost action away. Schemer won't quite do it.
Hands off
Let's get our damage in first. I think we draw first with Schemer before we trade with Arcanist. Or I think we trade with Arcanist first. See what he gets us. Alright, since that won't help us, then we draw with Schemer.
Let's dance.
We'll draw into Thieves Guild.
I have you now.
I think we'll just trade there. I think we'll just keep drawing for now. Have I played any other actions this turn? I have not. I could Shadow Shift anyway, just to keep trying to draw into an answer. Or I can save the Shadow Shift just in case I draw a Hex Mage next turn, which I think is slightly more responsible. Or if he plays Big Guard in this lane, I can Shadow Shift something out of there, and any of these two can end it. Or even if the Thieves Guild Recruit sticks and he puts a Big Guard here, I can get out Peddler if he manages to kill the other two. So Shadow Shift has potential to... Oh, alright. So that's going to be the game. But Shadow Shift had potential to get us the win in his first game in the deck. And Ungolem showed up, and we didn't get any Assassins, but just the threat of them being there pretty awesome. So I've fallen back down to near the bottom of rank 5, but I'm hoping we're going to be able to pull back up off camera. But for now, let's hop in to get another one, which may or may not be the final on-screen game of Action Assassin for the April season. Moving forward with the April season, I will have our usual beginning of the month pack opening just to try and fill out my collection, because there's so many decks that I want to try that I just don't quite have the cards for yet. Also, probably get some Versus Arena off-screen on the side to build my collection for that. But I have decks that you guys suggested that I definitely want to get using. But there's a couple cards that I view as not key cards, but pretty solid cards that I'd want to have before trying to run those decks. And the other benefit about the changes that I made to the deck, dropping the 2 Stealer of Secrets and adding some of our smaller guys in here, is now if I have those games where I just draw flat out terribly, there's not as much of late game to just purely draw. What I mean by that is, before we had 2 Smuggler's Halls, 2 Stealer of Secrets, 2 Mage's Guild Retreats, and Speaker Tyrannus. So that was like 7 or 8 cards that were 6 cost or greater that we would draw into this deck. And obviously that's pretty crippling with a deck like this if you draw into all of that early on. So now that we've taken 2 of those 6s out and changed them into 1 costs, it kind of gives us a bit more flexibility. Now, unfortunately, I think we have to Lightning Bolt here and trade. It's not something I'm happy about, but I want to keep his board clear. Next turn, I can set up a Schemer. I definitely am wary of letting him get set up like this, just because against Scout, in general, not with all Scout decks, but in general against Scout, the longer you let the game go on, the worse off you are. So, we're going to try and start answering here soon. Tree Minder sucks, because that means he's going to start ramping. But we've got our Hex Mage out. I think we can just trade this, play a Hex Mage, and then next turn we can actually play Hex Mage into Ice Spike and get a 6 damage Ice Spike out with Cycle, plus the 4 damage from this guy, from our Hex Mage that's currently on the board. Reaper sucks, but it's a thing that happens. And then the turn after this Hex Mage play,
Brains of a broad.
we can actually double mark it plus Curse to finish off the Reaper.
They'll never outsmart me.
Let's get a ton of damage in. He'll probably take this trade, in which case next turn I'll go market Curse, I think. So now he's probably trying to set up the trade with this one. Unless he has something just to take him out. So I get more. Arcanist does not help us whatsoever. What do I want to do here? We're gonna lose our Hex Mage this turn. I almost want to go Arcanist Skulk Skulk. But I think the slightly better play is to play Market, curse the Tree Minder, play our... Go face, and I think we go double sculpt. And then, I'm sure we're going to lose this one. That's almost guaranteed. But if he does decide to try and push damage to the face, then we can double Market, double curse next turn, and do a ton of damage to him. But there's no way that he's not going to trade here. Not trading there would almost be the game for him. He's going to get to survive it, though, which sucks. We'll pop a rune. Thieves Guild Recruit doesn't do much for us here. We keep drawing Schemers, which would normally be great, but not at the moment. That is not what we want to see. So drawing a zero-cost Schemer, though, is something that I don't mind seeing one bit. So let's set up this Market. Let's play our Schemer over here.
Nice try. Care to go again?
Now, I could Firebolt this to make sure that it can't kill one of these. I think we just get another Schemer out for now.
Let's dance.
Hindsight, I probably should have put the two Schemers over here, knowing he's going to get that health back. But again, there's still a chance that we draw into our Smugglers. He can only kill one of our Skulks at the moment, so our Skulk can possibly draw another Schemer here. Unless he has a big guard to put up. Or it's not really going to take a big guard, it's going to take any guard unless we draw a Shadow Shift. We can Thieves Guild Recruit for some more cycle to fish for some more of those Schemers. He's got a Cliff Racer. Is he trying to push damage here? I don't know. But obviously Smuggler's Hall is what I want to see. That's quite a lot of Magicka to take out one Skull. But I guess it's in his best interest.
What have we here?
Hey look, we draw another Schemer.
Nice try. Care to go
So
again?
Mage's Guild Retreat, which doesn't do much for us. Play our Arcanist. Play our other Schemer.
Let's dance.
Alright, so if he can survive this turn, we can do work next turn. He's got 8, 9, 10, but a ton of Magicka. With the potential to trigger his Hiss Grove next turn. So Smuggler's Hall needs to get us some good shit. Big zero cost? Char's Breeding Pit. That's pretty dope. I can't play it right now. I wish I could, but it's pretty dope. We're gonna get to see that a day early. Just don't be an animal with guard. Him getting more health back sucks as well.
Death comes to us all.
Is he gonna trade one of the Schemers? He wants to keep that damage off the board. We have 4 here, which brings him down to 9.
Skin fool.
Which means Smuggler's Hall by itself probably isn't gonna do it. that well.
My scales
Gotcha.
move in shadow.
Play this first. 2, 3, 4.
My sword is yours.
And that should do that.
That was fought well.
Whew, so we get to push through a little bit here, and this is a good showing of why I like to keep the markets around. They give me that last bit of reach that if Hex Mages get removed, removing supports isn't quite as common as being able to remove a 4 health creature. While support removal is still pretty common, it's not quite as easy. So that's why I keep the markets around, and I think dropping the Stealer of Secrets and the Abyssian Navigators for more guaranteed draw with the Shadow Shifts is definitely a move in the right direction for optimizing this deck. But that's going to be it for now, guys. I'm going to try off-screen to make that last bit of push to hit rank 4 before the end of the season. If we do manage to pull that off, I will definitely make a video letting you guys know. But that's going to be it for April, guys. As always, thank you all very, very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time for next season.